Hello, and you are listening to Tech Tonic Podcast. Today, it's our second episode of the year, which is our season 2 lah, basically. And if you've noticed, we actually have been missing for the past few weeks, and we kind of apologize for that. Not kind of, we do apologize for that because we were managing some admin issues with the company and things like that. And we won't go into detail. It's just that it was quite a hassle that we had to settle quite a few things for the past few weeks, right? But at the same time, nothing much has happened in the past few weeks since we were gone, right? So the only sort of big thing that kind of went away was CES, right?
Yeah, I think so far the only things that have been going up in news has been rumors. There's lots and lots of rumors, and we also had the launch of the international launch of the Mi 11 yesterday. I think this makes it a month after their Chinese launch of the Mi 11.
Actually, more than a month. It's nearly 2 months because the Xiaomi Mi 11 was launched in China in December, 20th December, if I'm not wrong. And it's already February. So. But it is also Malaysia's, or at least if it launches in Malaysia soon, it will be Malaysia's first Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 platform with 5nm build processor, stuff like that, right? So it's a really highly advanced smartphone. We are looking forward to it, and let's see when it launches in Malaysia, I think, right? Asus also launched their CES stuff, actually. They launched their ROG lineup from the CES yesterday night, I think.
Yeah, I think it was last night. We saw the Flow X13, their thinnest laptop being launched in Malaysia. It starts at about, I think, 5,000 ringgit-ish.
Yeah, it also comes with a GPU. What do you call that? I actually forgot what you call that.
The external GPU, but that one is above 10,000. I think it was somewhere around 13,000 ringgit, if I remember the pricing correctly.
But it will actually transform your Flow into like a proper gaming laptop with RTX 3080, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Up to
an RTX 3080.
Yeah, it's just that it'll cost you a bit of money right? Obviously.
Yeah, it's a bit pricey, but at the same time, you're asking for two things that usually don't come together in one package.
Correct. And at least the eGPU, the RTX 3080 that you're getting in that eGPU package is a full desktop version of the RTX 3080, and it works natively with the Asus Flow, ROG Flow X, right? That's what it's called, right?
X13.
Yeah. X13. So it's a 13-inch gaming laptop. I still don't understand why you game on a 13-inch display, because most likely you most likely will get a different screen to play with. So I don't know, you're going to spend money on that on your own, right? That's to each their own. To each their own.
Very true.
Also Facebook have recently started banning some comments again on their platform because anti-vaxxers. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much banning, rather they are policing the information that is put out there.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that they are trying to get misinformation about the new vaccines off their platform, or at least controlled. Because even like physically in the real world, I've had to deal with misinformation on a daily basis. There's so
your
much
parents'
out there.
WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Your family WhatsApp group. Not just yours, everyone's family WhatsApp group will be filled with weird info on how to get rid of COVID.
Yeah, and the thing is, these bits of information that people are sharing without verifying is actually creating panic.
Yes, it creates a lot of problems basically for a lot of other people out there as well. But
So
Malaysia is gonna get our vaccination soon. The vaccination trials ongoing, and
yeah,
we're hoping to see it distributed very, very soon, right? So if you're listening to
yeah,
this, if you can get your hands and line up for the vaccine, make sure you do, but still be safe, right? Just still be safe. Don't crowd yourself and don't try to kill yourself just for the vaccine first lah. Okay, that's what I'm saying also. Get it,
yeah,
but still be safe, right?
yeah. It's a
Um
lot of it's a very interesting piece of technology, but yeah, be safe.
yes. The other thing that happened or developed in the last 12 hours to 24 hours is E3 just made an announcement that, they're going to be fully online. They're not going to be having a physical event this year again. Okay, to be fair,
Yeah,
it's still not safe out there. And even airlines are saying that, oh, we may not get long haul travels until 2023 or beyond, right? They
yeah,
say something like that, along those lines.
yeah. I think it's a smart move given the fact that the world is in the condition it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we, the more we learn about this virus, the more we're finding out that you don't have to be sick to hold on to it.
Yes. So
So
there's also
yeah,
new strains being discovered like every few weeks or so. And
yeah,
it's kind of worrying. It's actually
it's
very
kind of
worrying.
worrying. But bravo on E3 on going digital. Last year they actually cancelled the whole thing just because they couldn't have a physical event.
Yeah. So I think a lot of companies will start approaching their, conferences online. Even CES is fully digital this year, which also means that there's more people involved. Like more people can actually attend E3 CES. And same goes for E3, I think.
Yep, and I
Yep.
think CS this year was for us a little bit more manageable because there weren't any overlapping press conferences as well.
Oh
So
yeah,
everything
thank
was
goodness.
spaced out and we had time to finish coverage before another thing started up. So it was a little bit
Well,
more
the major
manageable.
ones lah.
Yeah.
The major ones at least, right? And also, in the past few weeks, we see Sony actually making the headlines with a new mirrorless camera that is actually more expensive than their Alpha 9 flagship camera. So this is their flagship. They call it the Alpha 1, and this is Sony's first camera, well, technically first consumer sort of mirrorless camera for photography that can record at 8K resolution. This is 8K videos for up to 30 minutes for some heat concerns and whatnot, obviously, right? Because it's
Yeah.
8K
It's a
and
lot
it
of
is very
processing.
expensive. Yes, and it's still very, very expensive. It's a Sony camera. What do you expect, right?
Yeah. And Sony has been
Anyway,
the a really good performer when it comes to videos lately.
that is true. That is true, especially their A7S3. The Alpha 7S3 could record at 10-bit color, 4:2 colors now, which is something that we really want, but it's also very expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on to the topics of interest that we want to talk about today, right? Because obviously we do that every week, right? So this week there's some rumors as well about the Apple Car. Well, to be fair, Apple Car rumors has not been something new. Okay, it's announced, not really announced, but we get a glimpse of it in 2015, and it's developing slightly more now because suddenly Hyundai and Kia just says that no, we're not gonna help Apple anymore.
Yeah, Hyundai and so a lot of it was to do with the fact that Apple Car is looking to be a fully autonomous car,
Yes,
which is very interesting considering that we don't really have fully autonomous cars just yet.
technically, yeah. So
And
if you come back and tell us, hey, Tesla is also fully autonomous, what? No, let me enlighten you on something, okay? Tesla's autonomous vehicle system is technically a level 2 self-driving autonomous vehicle thing, okay? And that is not considered a full autonomous self-driving mechanism or algorithm just yet. It still requires human input, and it only works at a very specific in very specific conditions, basically. And that is also why you cannot implement that system just everywhere. It's
Yeah.
only implementable in certain areas that are properly mapped out, like the US. It sort of works in the UK, but it only works on their highways and their motorways and their expressways. It will not work in Malaysia. Okay, so if you
You may
want a
end up
fully
in a
autonomous,
plantation.
or you may end up in a ditch somewhere and you can't get out, or something like that lah. Okay, you really don't want to
Yeah.
trust that in Malaysia, because it also works on understanding the behavior of the local drivers, of the local conditions and the local traffic. Okay, and Malaysia's unique. That's all I will say. Okay, and if you really want a fully autonomous vehicle, then you have to look at a level 4 system. And currently, what's being rolled out and the factories is all level 2 systems. We are developing level 3 and level 4 systems, but they are not perfect. So,
Yeah.
Apple saying that they want to develop a fully autonomous vehicle, you might not see it until a few years later. And at the same time, they are Apple. They don't make cars. They don't understand how to make a car. So,
Yeah, they need to work
yeah.
with someone, and the fact that Hyundai and Kia have pulled out, it might be an inkling of what's happening behind the scenes. Because I think these two companies have been looking at developing their own autonomous vehicles for quite a while,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and for them to see, to have the backing of Apple and supporting their autonomous vehicle project is kind of a big thing.
Yes.
And for them to suddenly say, "Oh no, we're not doing Apple Car anymore," there might be a few hiccups, maybe in partnership terms, but at the same time, I was excited to see that Apple and Google were looking into creating AI for cars. This is something that the auto industry actually needed to push forward autonomous vehicle driving.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, now with this situation, it's kind of interesting to see where we are. And it's
Yeah.
affected Apple quite a bit. $5.5 billion loss in share
No.
value.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because Apple actually poured a lot of money into their autonomous car project, okay? And to be fair, they actually did some really, really good hires in the past few years since they announced or they were thinking about making cars, right? They actually hired people from Mercedes-Benz, from Mazda, from Toyota even, and even BMW, right? These guys are no jokes when it comes to, the automotive industry. There's a reason why they've, stayed for 100 years and more, right? Because they really know how to make their cars, and they are also looking into making autonomous cars on their own, which also means that they should be looking at a partnership with Apple and even Google, because these two guys are the biggest guys when it comes to data collection, or even Facebook,
Yeah.
to be fair, right? At some point, Apple and Facebook were going to bid, talking about autonomous vehicles as well, because Facebook has all the data, right? And even Apple also has enough data to back up their autonomous vehicle research. The only issue is that they don't have the facility to produce cars, so they definitely need to work with people like Mercedes-Benz at least, or BMW, or even the US car makers like General Motors and even Ford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's looking into this. It's not just Apple. Even Tesla wants to move the autonomous car project forward. Intel wants to do that too. So I don't know. I think there's some, for even like for Hyundai and Kia, to pull out, I think there must be some really, really big issues within Apple that, that just
Yeah,
scares them off or put them off a little bit.
yeah.
So
Because
now,
to be very
mhm,
honest, if you look at even developments at CES for the
yep,
past 2-3 years,
yep,
the one thing everybody has been talking about is autonomous cars.
yeah. Last
So
year or 2 years ago at least, last year lah, technically, CS 2020, right? We saw Sony releasing their own version of what an autonomous car should look like, the Vision S, basically, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. So it's a topic that I think everyone's looking into lah. But
we
at the
have
same
people like
time,
we
mhm,
have people like Qualcomm going into it as well.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting to see where Apple Car is headed right now.
yeah. Well, we are still, quite in the dark about the project. Okay, and even Tesla themselves are like saying, well, Elon Musk lah, basically saying that, oh, Apple is where autonomous cars go to die or something like that. He actually mentioned that before. We don't know what's going on there just yet, but I think Apple and Google actually will play quite a big part in in the autonomous vehicle industry, at least in my mind.
Yeah, I think they will. Just because Apple, although they say they don't, they have access to a lot of data, and so does
Yes, they
Google.
do.
And this data makes a big difference in how to approach the AI and machine learning of autonomous cars.
Yeah, this is no secret lah. Basically, them having access to data. Another thing about data is that when we talk about data, is cloud, right? And
Yeah,
Google is also in quite a big news. Like they made headlines last week. At least, actually, no, 2 weeks ago, actually, right? It's not last week. They
yeah,
finally basically said, yeah, we're gonna give up on the Google Stadia idea, and that's
yeah.
huge. That's huge.
It's huge. Well, they didn't say that they gave up on Google Stadia itself. What they did was they actually shut down their internal Stadia studios, which was meant to
Mm.
develop and help adapt games to Google Stadia platforms.
Yeah,
So,
which is basically saying that yeah, we are defeated lah. We're not gonna put any more money into it, right? And I think there's an inherent problem there, not just for Google, for cloud gaming in its totality, in its mainstay.
yeah,
And one of our friends actually really put it very nicely in his own Facebook lah. We're not gonna mention names. He says that just because one thing that really failed Google Stadia was because there was no exclusive titles, and we kind of agree.
yeah. Google Stadia didn't have exclusives. In fact, I think a lot of their launch titles were older titles that were willing to make the jump to cloud gaming.
Yeah, it's
And
just AAA titles. It's in concept, it's amazing, right?
yeah, it is. And I think the fact that Google Stadia is facing an uphill battle, even with Google's backing, is an indication that perhaps the world isn't really ready for cloud gaming. Because before this, we had the Ouya,
Mm-hmm.
and that went away really fast.
Yeah, I mean, it was really hyped as well.
Yeah,
And we were one of the people that were actually really excited about that project, the Ouya project, right? And Google backed it as well. And then
yep,
it just went away. It just went underground. Like, you can't even find the console now. It's
yeah.
bad.
And I think one thing that uh, cloud gaming has that it needs to figure out is actually latency. Because
Mm,
between console gaming and PC gaming, the minute you touch a button or you react to something, uh, it actually allows you to react really fast. But with cloud gaming,
yep.
we have a issue where you press a button and it might take up to 3 seconds to actually reach the server.
Yes, and then it takes another second or two to reach back to your screen, which also means that
Yeah.
you're getting huge delays when you're playing games like Horizon Zero Dawn, or even like when they first launched, Google Stadia had the Assassin's Creed, right? They had Assassin's Creed Origins, if I'm not wrong. And everybody's just basically complaining that the latency that you get from these games are horrible. Okay, you get the benefit of basically using the whole server to run the game. So you're definitely getting like a full nice, let's say 4K 60 frames per second experience, because the machines in Google are capable of doing that. Okay. And that's one very big benefit of cloud gaming that they were basically advertising lah, saying that, hey, we can use the combined power of like our own servers, and everybody gets the benefit of using our server. You don't need to buy a super expensive gaming laptop and things like that. So gaming laptop or gaming PCs are basically dead. You don't have to spend like 10,000 ringgit on your PC anymore. You just have to
Yeah.
pay a little bit every month, and you can get to play titles like Assassin's Creed Origins, uh, Horizon Zero Dawn, and stuff like that on like whatever settings that is highest available, right? Or whatever that your subscription allows you to lah.
Yep. But also, I think another thing that gamers weren't comfortable with is also to address this latency. Basically, what happens is that Google Stadia is collecting data on how you play, and
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, it's also reacting for you before you react in
Yeah,
certain situations. So,
yeah,
for me personally, as a gamer, that is a bit of a. So, is it me playing the game or is someone else playing it for me?
yeah. That's also a bit of a no-no lah, because you're playing games because you want to control the characters ma.
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, as simple as that, right? Like, I don't know. When you play a game, you want to be the one playing the game.
yeah, and if you're going to use AI to address the gap between latency, I think there needs to be a little bit more transparency when it comes to how you're doing it. While
Maybe.
yes, yes, predicting what I'm going to do on to address latency is kind of smart. At the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it brings up, you know how a lot of gamers, when they play, they're like, hey, I pressed this button but the horse went the other way or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, this becomes a big issue with Google Stadia's way of dealing with latency, because certain
Yeah.
times you're not going to react the same way all the time.
Yeah. But this is
So
not just a
yeah,
Google Stadia problem, right? This is a cloud gaming problem, because it's gonna take is the latency is just going to be a lot. It really depends on not just the connection on your side, it also depends on the connection and traffic that their servers are getting, right? And a lot of times, like a lot of telcos are saying that, or not just telcos, it's even these cloud gaming providers, even Apple, right? They are saying that, hey, all these can be solved by 5G. Like the moment 5G launches, cloud gaming will become a thing. But they also said the same thing with gigabit speed internet, and Malaysia will not get gigabit speed internet that commonly at home. Like
yeah,
Jivan and I, our internet speed is at a maximum of 300, 500 megabits per second, and even that we're not comfortable on saying that, yeah, we can play games on cloud now. I'm not
yeah.
comfortable with that.
E- Even playing games online, playing games like Red
Mm-hmm.
Dead online, or even Overwatch, or if you want to
Mm-hmm.
go even further back, Diablo 3, you're not getting
Yep.
consistent latency throughout your gameplay.
Yeah, and that's a very big worry when it comes to gaming online, right? So I think there's still a lot of things that they need to learn and they need to address before cloud gaming becomes a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
there's potential. We see potential in it, but I just don't think it works now.
I think technology is at a tipping point where the software and the hardware needs to find a place to work together.
Yeah.
Because even when it comes to Red Dead Online, there are times when you're just glitching everywhere. Even
But
on
that's
older
more Rockstar problem than us lah.
even on older games like Overwatch and stuff like that, you still glitch because of latency problems.
Hey, don't say those
Programming
games
aside.
lah. Okay, let's just put GTA Online in on the pedestal here. It is not a new game. It's about 8 years old. The game is about 7-8 years old already. Okay. Kudos to them. They've actually went past 140 million in sales, which is technically the highest grossing or highest selling game of all time. Okay, it's not small. It's huge over the period of 7 years. But if you play their game online, there's still a lot of bugs. There's, there's still
That's an
a lot of
understatement.
bugs. Yeah. And there's still a lot of problems within the community itself, lah. Okay, but that's a topic for another day.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
I think platforms like Google Stadia put a not even a magnifying glass, it's a microscope on these issues. And it's so exacerbated, especially if you're doing cloud gaming. So
yes,
just for an example, loading times in GTA is not the best.
yeah.
Can you imagine going through that on cloud gaming?
Yeah, we've tried going on GTA Online for one night, and we've got stuck in the loading screen for 20 minutes before we actually load into a lobby. That's not good. That's just really putting off.
By the time you load in, you're like, okay, I don't have a mood to play this game anymore.
Yeah, so we do see the potential. Not to say that we don't like cloud gaming or that we despise cloud gaming or that we don't think cloud gaming will work. We see the potential and we really want it to work. Then we don't have to spend so much money on a gaming PC as well. I actually think that we'll still do because we like shiny stuff. But for everybody who's like, oh, we don't have the money to buy like a super checkout system, all they have to do after that is basically, with cloud gaming, is basically pay something like a Netflix fee, and you get smooth gameplay on your PC. Doesn't matter what your PC spec is. That's great. It's basically democratizing games and exposing everybody else to video games, which I think is always great.
Yeah.
I think. But
yeah, it is.
The problem is the teething problems are, all these latency issues, having exclusive titles, and this playability aspect. I don't actually know whether it'll be solved by 5G or not, because you still get latency. It doesn't matter. There's still going to be some latency. The issue is how bad.
And at the same time, when it comes to 5G, we don't know when the world is going to be a 5G world. Like, even for Malaysia's plan itself, we've been put back 2 years.
Yes.
Can't say other countries.
Yeah, but that's also because of the COVID situation and things like that lah. I don't think it's a good excuse, but it's what it is.
Yeah, and 5G, I think, is going to come at a premium when it launches, to be very honest.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
So
it's like when 4G started.
Affordability on a 5G world is another question when it comes to getting 5G connections.
Yeah, and that will also lead to how long will people take, to adopt 5G? Because even today, right, 4G is not even available everywhere throughout, let's say, Malaysia. Like, there are still some spots where you don't even get even 3G. And that's what they're trying to solve with 5G lah, okay? But that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
I think also, that's all we have for today, right? if you want to let us know what you think about cloud gaming, okay, just reach out to us, comment, and or email us. We are available on all sorts of social media. We are available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even LinkedIn. You can message us on any of these platforms, or you can email us via the email that you'll find on our website. Okay, obviously, visit our website for the latest tech news and latest tech reviews. We are going to release the review of the Samsung Galaxy S21 and S21 Ultra very, very soon. In short, we like the phone, okay? In short. Better than the S20.
A lot better than the S20 is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, but for other reviews, please do check out our website at www.techent.tv. Techent.tv, basically. Okay, that's TECHENT.tv. And I realized that we haven't actually introduced ourselves in the beginning of the show. So if this is the first time you're hearing the show, I am Darwin, and we have Jeevan on the other line. Yes. So, but that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening in. We will see you again hopefully next week if there's not too much going on our end. We really want to do the show on a weekly basis, right? So we're trying to keep that promise. But anyway, thank you for listening in. Thank you for sitting in on our show. And this has been fun. This is me, Darwin, and Jeevan signing out. Bye bye.
See ya.